I mentioned last week that I was spent a good chunk of time as a relatively enthusiastic atheist. And there came a point, which I'm making a really long story very short, but there came a point when I was going to church with my wife. And I started to want to believe, okay? And then I thought, I want to believe. And so I started to try to believe. And I tried and I talked to people. If you go back to the days of Haven Church when I was there, they're like, man, this guy is, okay? I spent hours with pastors. I went to Sunday school classes, and I asked questions, and my wife rolled her eyes, right? And like, oh my God, here we go again. And I read everything. Oh my God! And you know what? I could not force myself to believe. Just couldn't do it. And so eventually, I had this conversation with myself. It was actually a verbal conversation, and I said to myself, "I quit. I quit. I can't make this up. I can't do this. If Jesus wants to do this, He's going to give it to me later. But for right now, here's what I'm going to do. Okay? Here's what I'm going to do right now. Is even though I don't believe, I'm going to follow that man. In my unbelief, I will follow that man. Because I saw how he was I saw and I thought, if I can live that life, I will have lived my life. Not the life being dictated to me by my psychology, by my peers, by this, by that. I will have lived the life I want to live if I can follow that man. And Pilate was amazed. When Jesus finally speaks, it's at the cross. And crowds are around. There's people casting lots for his clothes. I mean, what could his clothes have been worth? It's not even worth putting a dice game together, I wouldn't think, but they're casting lots for his clothes. They're shouting at him. And when he finally speaks, these are the words that comes out. Not defensiveness, not rage, these are the words that come out. They're compassion and empathy. He says, forgive them, Father. Compassion. They don't know what they're doing. Empathy. Leading shame researcher, who's a professor in Houston, Brene Brown, maybe a lot of you, I've quoted her a lot in my book, and I don't even know if she's a Christian, okay? But here's what she'll say. She'll say, if you want to defeat shame, here are the 3 keys to defeating shame, okay? Empathy, compassion, and vulnerability. So if you make believe that scientists come to realize that we got a shame problem here, people. They come to realize that we have a global shame issue that's causing all of this stuff. And we need to concoct for ourselves a savior. Let's all get together, scientists, because we know how to fix this. It involves vulnerability, compassion, and empathy. So let's get our test tubes and our beakers out, and let's concoct this human being to lead us out of this. And the scientists would concoct a human being that looks just like that man. They're agreeing with us. And then, from that cross, figuratively, but from that cross, I see him look at me. Forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. And then it's like he looks up with that, the look that kind of goes right through all the fig leaves and the masks and it cuts right to your guts, okay? Cuts right to your guts. And he looks into my soul and he says this. He says, you coming? Are you coming? I don't care if you don't. Are you coming? Because if you are, this is what it looks like. And he describes it in Mark 8:34. You need to deny yourself. Deny what the world is insisting you do. Deny your inclinations towards rage and defensiveness. Deny your inclinations towards anger, towards fear, towards perfectionism. Whatever the world is laying upon you, deny all those inclinations. And pick up your own cross. Okay? This self-hatred that the world is going to be dumping on you, carry your own cross. You do not have to own it, Rick. You do not have to own that. 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 You must not, you do not have to own that, but you got to carry it. That's the game plan. And when you look at that world that's handed you that, through their need to transfer that onto you, you don't offer back defensiveness and rage, you offer back compassion and empathy. And some versions will even add this word, this important word right to the end. They'll say, pick up your own cross daily. Every day. See, I want God just to fix this, right? I want him to pull me out of this mess that I'm in. I want him to just, but this is our world. This is the place we live. This is the post-Genesis world we're in right now. Okay? This is the place we exist. This is going to be a daily fight, a daily battle because of the world we exist in. However, we do not have to be slave to that world. We do not have to be slave to those decisions. We have a freedom to make a choice to instead follow that man. Follow that man into a place of vulnerability, empathy, compassion. Not because you have to, but because you're free to. We are free to follow him into freedom. And Jesus says, it's kind of a big deal. There's a lot at stake. Verse 35, whoever wants to save his life was going to lose it. But whoever loses their life on account of me, because of this, and for the gospel, will save it. And in this context, Jesus is not talking about where we go when we're dead. He said, this is how we live while we're alive.